Secure your most important accounts. Hi everyone, Leo Notenboom here for askleo.com. We often talk about it being very important to make sure that your most important accounts are appropriately secure. Great. Given, though, that we all have dozens, if not hundreds, of online accounts, which ones qualify as being most important? And what kind of security is secure enough? So there are no hard and fast answers to this question, but I do have some thoughts that may help you prioritize what you want to do. Two kinds of accounts generally qualify as the most important. Accounts that allow you access to or control of money, and then accounts you might use to recover other accounts. Let's get specific. Bank accounts. Your bank account is probably the single most obvious account on this entire list. As bank robber Willie Sutton supposedly once explained why he chose to rob banks, because that's where the money is. That's where your money is. And almost all online theft is related to money one way or another. But it's more than just a bank account you need to be worried about. All of these accounts qualify as being important when it comes to money. Many of us have more than one bank account. Some of us may have investment accounts. And of course, we typically all have credit card accounts. Now, while the latter one doesn't actually store money, it definitely gives people access to money. There may be other accounts that you have or that you can think of. The bottom line here is this whole concept of access to cash or access to money. That's the common thread that makes them all important. Now, email accounts are important, but sometimes not really for the reason you might think. Yes, of course, you want to protect your sensitive and private communications with others, but there's more to it than that. Your email account is often the account associated with your bank accounts. What that means then is that if your email account is compromised, it can be a stepping stone to your bank accounts being compromised. In fact, any account associated with your email address is at risk, whether it's important or not. However, there's another important email account that's easily overlooked: your recovery account. Many email providers allow, encourage, and then sometimes force you to set up a second email account or a second email address as an alternate or recovery address. If you have trouble logging into your normal primary email account, you can then use the alternate account to regain access. Well, unfortunately, should that alternate account be compromised, it's another stepping stone. The hacker that gets control of that account can then use it to gain access to your primary email account and back to being able to gain access to your bank accounts. Now, mobile phone is actually, it's not an account per se, but it turns out to be incredibly important in this same way. Your mobile number and its associated online management account, these are important for many of the same reasons your alternate email address is important. It's often used to recover a primary account for some other form of identity verification. Once again, it's a set of stepping stones. Your mobile phone could get compromised, which could allow them to then compromise your primary email account, which could then allow them to compromise your bank account. In fact, there doesn't really even have to be that many steps. Banks often use mobile phones for recovery and identification purposes directly. So if your mobile phone is compromised, well, then they might have a direct line to being able to compromise your bank account. Your mobile phone itself is critical as well. As many cases, you have apps installed for the very accounts we've listed above. So, those are the important accounts, at least some of them. I'll say most of them. What does it mean to have appropriate security for all of those? Well, these are all things you've heard me talk about before. To begin with, use a long and strong and unique password for each account. Long and strong is pretty obvious. 20 random characters is what I tend to use. I tend not to use special characters. I figured 20 random alphanumeric upper lowercase characters are fine. But here, more than anywhere else, having a unique password is more important than ever. Your email account's password should be used for your email account and nowhere else. Your bank account's password should be used for your bank account and nowhere else. And so on. You get the idea. Now, if you're about to complain that you can't keep track of many strong passwords like that, then you need a password vault. It is more secure than any of the alternatives. We all fudge a little when it comes to using a different password on every site, even me. But when it comes to your most important accounts, this is where you don't want to cut corners. Password reuse remains the #1 way that password-based hacks succeed. Enable two-factor authentication on every important account that supports it. This way, even if your password is somehow compromised, your account remains secure. Without your second factor, the hacker can't get in. Now, I often get pushback about the various types of two-factor authentication because some technically provide greater protection than others. At this level, I don't care which one you use. Any two-factor authentication is safer than not having two-factor authentication at all. Only if your accounts are particularly valuable targets for, say, nation-state level hackers do you really need to consider what might be most appropriate. Otherwise, use the one you're most comfortable with. Now, there is the concept of a mobile PIN. I'm not talking about the unlock PIN for your mobile device, although that's important and you should have it along with maybe biometric ID or whatever's supported on your device. No, this is about contacting your mobile provider and seeing if they will allow you to establish a PIN that's required to make any changes to your account. This prevents most SIM swapping, theft of your phone number, as social engineering attacks against mobile providers fail when the PIN can't be presented. What's a social engineering attack? Okay, say someone could convince a customer service representative at your mobile provider that they're you, and you have a new phone, and that your phone number should be swapped to that new phone. The result is that all the text messages sent to your number would now go to the hacker's phone. If the company had to ask for a PIN number that the hacker wouldn't have, the hack would fail. Now, bottom line, of course, all accounts matter. I'm not saying they don't, but we also know that not all accounts are created equal. Some matter more than others. You must maintain the highest levels of security on all of your most important accounts to prevent problems. It might feel like a lot of work, but please trust me, it is much less work than trying to recover after a compromise. For comments, for updates, for links related to this topic and more, visit askleo.com/175838. I'm Leo Notenboom, and this is askleo.com. Thanks for watching.